season has begun. But the hunter isn't human. Only the prey are. It came without warning, like nothing on this earth.
Our friends are dead.
Beyond any known terror.
Tell that horrible creature. Come on. It's chasing me.
Because when it leaves this planet, no one may be left alive.
Look, I'm warning you. When they start eating on you, don't come to me for help.
Baby!
He came down here with a sport. He wants to get himself a few trophies. You know what? Right now, you and me, we are the prize game.
The hunter. The hunted.
That was no dream.
The thing that preys on human fear and feeds on human flesh. From deepest space it came, and now man is the endangered species. It came without warning, and now it's coming for you.
And welcome everybody to 31 Days of Monsters. I'm the Monster Kid #1, Graham Nolan. I'm your host, and we are on day 3 of this 5th year of this show. 80 Schlock. There's no other way to describe without warning. This is one of the ones I had not seen before, and likely will not see again. But I have to say, there's a certain amount of charm and fun to it. This entire movie's budget was $150,000. $75,000 of that went to Jack Palance and Martin Landau just to bring them on board. Okay, so that brings it down to $75,000 for everything else. $19,000 of that went to Rick Baker to make that mask. So now you have a budget of $56,000 to pay everybody else, the cameraman, the crew, all that kind of stuff. So if you're wondering why, like, the flying aliens look so bad, well, what do you want for $56,000? In fact, the only set that they had to build for this thing was the shack that they blew up. Everything else already existed, and they just filmed in it. A lot of outside stuff, obviously. The lake, didn't really cost them much, except for maybe a permit, if they even paid that. But this is 1980. We've just finished the 70s era, and we're starting into the beginning of what was known as 80s schlock movies. This one was sort of fun. It's got a cast of who's who of out-of-work actors in this thing in 1980. Martin Landau, he had been kicking around, but he hadn't had any of his big films yet. The ones that like he'd be nominated or won the Oscar. Jack Palance, at the tail end of his career at that point. Then you got Cameron Mitchell, another 50s guy from the 50s. Neville Brand, heavy in movies from the 50s on. Ralph Meeker in his last role before he passed. Larry Storch, of course, from F Troop, is in this with a thankless role, but a paycheck. And of course, this is the introduction to David Caruso, who thought that television wasn't good enough for him when he was on that hit show NYPD Blue. Decided he was going to leave it to go into films, and that didn't work out so well. He ended up back on TV in NCIS Miami. There's a bit of irony here because the alien is played by Kevin Peter Hall, who played the alien in Predator. And the premise of the Predator was, a hunter, an alien hunter comes down to seek human prey, which is really what this is too. And this predates it, because this is 1980 and Predator was 1986, 88, 89, 86, 80, something like that. So it predates it by quite a few years. So there you have it, my friends. What are you going to do? Sometimes some of the movies aren't great. And if you don't like this one, you might not like tomorrow's either. The Cyclops is what we'll be watching then. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat who is here. Don't be shy about super chatting, guys, because I can't monetize this show because I show the trailers. So, think of it as a donation, and any donations are appreciated to keep the lights on, the time I have to put in, and of course the StreamYard fees, which are actually pretty high. So anyway, Miss Stippling is here. Nope, I hated this one. Whatever. I should have just watched the last 15 minutes of the movie. But then you wouldn't have seen all the other overacting scenes. I have to say, David Caruso, he was exuding a certain amount of charm, even though he didn't have, too much. As this teenage kid, you could tell this guy's had a little something there. I've always liked the guy as an actor. Dr. Mass Retro Elixir is here. The alien weapons remind me of the Star Trek episode Operation Annihilate. Yeah, the flying pizzas in Operation Annihilate, very similar. But they never did say what the hell was going on, what those tendrils were doing, what the yellow goop was. Was it a poison? I can only assume that's what it was. No, it couldn't have been a poison because they injected it twice into Jack Palance and it didn't kill him. So, who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe that's just a plot fault. Dr. Mass wants to remind people, if you missed it, day one, Event Horizon is on Peacock. I learned this after I rented it. Kino Reviews is here, says hail to the chat. JP Roca asks his eternal question, what's good? Dr. Mask also says Martin Landau and Jack Palance did a great job with what they had. I thought Martin Landau, and again, maybe you're right. Maybe it's what he had to work with, the crazy Vietnam vet type thing. I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't think that either of these guys were giving their best. They were giving adequate performances. For the money that they made and the time that they had. But with these low budget films, what they try to do is, to get production money and all that kind of stuff, they want to attach stars to it. And you can see they attached a whole bunch of named stars, names in the 50s and 60s. Here we are in 1980. So they can get these guys relatively cheap, and they can put their names up on the marquee and, draw people in. It's the way these low budget films work. In fact, it's the way big budget films work too. You have to attach. You really have to attach a big star to it to get it through. It always amazes me when they wait most of the movie to reveal the monster, and then they put them on a poster. I gotta say, that's a great poster. That I thought that was a really cool poster. Much better than a movie, but that's usually the case. You look at some of these 50s, sci-fi horror movies, they had great posters. Stippling Vaughn says this movie was so bad. Anthony Mark says, hi, everyone. Whoa, this was a C movie. He's not even giving it a B. Dragon Dancer fell asleep. She napped in the middle of it. Oh, you missed all the good parts. That's where the $56,000 went, was in the middle there. Dragon Dancer. Martin Landau, because they never knew nothing about nothing. Wow, that's some dialogue. JDC loved this one. Reminded him of a drive-in. Yeah, this is definitely drive-in material. You could be out at a drive-in with a girl and be making out and stuff and not missing any of the plot. When the music gets really heavy, then you know to look up. Stippling says this is a 70s POS film. No, I wouldn't say that. Dr. Mass says it's a stellar movie for that budget. Black Ice says, based on that trailer, the people behind this film were fans of 50s schlock. Well, they probably had the same budget. Got a lot of hair. Got that late 70s, early 80s crazy hair. Maybe that is why the alien was killing them, jealous of their hair. I don't know. I thought maybe they were jealous of David Caruso's shorts. I was talking to Dragon Dancer earlier today, and my God, his ass cheeks were hanging out of those things. Those are really short shorts. Brent McKay says, "Hey, Graham, how are you?" I'm good, Brent. I remember seeing this when I was 10. I watched it recently on Tubi and still like it. Yeah, it's fun. Chris Thacker says, to say this movie was awful shortchanges the word awful. Yep, we covered that already. Rick662 says, very interesting cast. Tom Tuttle is here. Hello, Tom. And he says that, hail Graham, hail monsters. Hail yeah. David was run out of Hollywood working in his wife's store in Miami when he was rediscovered for CSI Miami. Run out of his wife's work. He was run out of Hollywood working in his wife's store. What does that mean? Was he doing something in his wife's store? Dr. Mass says Cyclops is on HBO Max and Prime. You can also watch a colorized version or one with Spanish subtitles on the Internet Archive. Internet Archive is a great place to check if you can't find something anywhere and you don't want to spend the money to rent it. So it's a good place to check for things. Thank you, Dr. Mask, for reminding everybody. I saw Cyclops on HBO Max, so it's a nice copy there. Doesn't make the story any better. Have I looked at Restream? I don't even know what that is, Dr. Mask. JS is here. He says, woo! Rick Johnson, I have the movie on Blu-ray, and I'm not sure I've ever watched it. Dr. Mask says, don't get Cyclops mixed up with the one on Tubi from the 70s. Yeah, this one has got Lon Chaney Jr. in it, James Craig, and Gloria Talbot. It's from 1957, I think. Either 57 or 59. So that it's black and white. That's the one to look for. Rick1662 says Neville Brand got the Silver Star in World War II. Very true. Very true. Always played a heavy. Well, with that voice and that mug, you know, there's no way he was going to be a leading man. Sleeping Psychopath, he says, I can't believe it's October already. I have some catching up to do. Oh, it's an alternative to StreamYard. Okay. He was run out of Hollywood. He was making a living with his wife at her store in Hollywood. He admits he was a problem actor. He was grateful for CSI Miami. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if he run out. I mean, I guess that implies that he did something wrong, and you know, the villagers were at the gates with torches or something like that. He was a problem actor. I mean, he was. That's why he ended up. They were glad he left NYPD Blue. You know, I think he got too big for his britches too quickly. Graham Nolan, thanks for highlighting Innocent Blood. Do you think De Niro didn't take up offer to be in it if asked because of Angel Heart? I have no idea. I think he thinks he's too good for a vampire movie, a B vampire movie, because it didn't have a big budget. John Landis said he knew that, going into it. So, all right. We've covered everybody in the chat here. So, day 4 tomorrow is Cyclops. Just look for the announcement of the time, because I don't know what time tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know what the time is. We're going to have another Monster Kid on Sunday. Shanthan Jetty is going to join me to talk about John Carpenter's The Thing. So, no, was it The Thing? No, it's Thing. The Thing. Yeah, I guess it's The Thing. Or John Carpenter's Thing. I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, because my favorite's The Thing from Another World. But anyway, we're going to do that on Sunday. Again, that time, I'm looking at 2 o'clock for that one. So again, just make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you'll get the notifications. Watch my X page because I always announce it there so you don't miss out. So that's it, my friends. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about The Cyclops. It's a Burt I. Gordon film. What more can be said? We'll see you guys. Bye.